from the beginning, so if you can pay attention, please. First of all, you have to pick a tragic vision. Did you all do that?
Yes.
All right. So, I'm going to go through the example I gave. I picked collapse of Yoruba culture in this tragedy. All right? Mm-hmm. What passage am I choosing? The passage I'm choosing is from pages 21 through 23. It's the end of scene 1. And I'm also going to allude to page 17, where the women keep talking about our hands have wrenched the world adrift into emptiness. Okay? All right, so when I say I'm going to allude to, you have to pick a passage that is like 3, 4, 5 pages together. Okay, and then you can allude to a different page like 17 or 75 or whatever. Okay, but you have to pick a passage to focus on. This is called a close reading assignment. Okay, so who is speaking? Well, in a play, it's always first person because Ialosia, Ellison. Okay, so it's always first person. Now, if in this passage, the passage I chose, Ialosia and Ellison are speaking. So although it doesn't say it up there in my example, I'm going to want to write that. Okay? Ialosia first person, Ellison first person. What is the topic being discussed in the passage? In general, what is the passage about? So like, overall, it's about Ellison wanting to take the bride and Ialosia warning him not to. Or at least if he does, to make sure that he can also commit suicide. Right? The thing that she's supposed to do. Context, when and where is the speaker speaking in this passage? Ialosia speaks this to Ellison before he prepares to die. That's just in general. So what I'm giving you here is literally the big 5. This is first level on the surface analysis. Who, what, when, where. Literally, right? Who, what, when, and where. That's the context. Okay. Next thing. What patterns do you see? So when I look at this passage, what patterns am I seeing? Well, I keep seeing Ialosia, she speaks a lot. And then Ellison's responses are very short. Ialosia also talks a lot about, she repeatedly speaks about animals and insects who do not ruin their homes when they leave them. She talks about how do not wreck the house that you left just because you want to do something else. Ellison seems to repeatedly, patterns, want to talk about his seed and how he should travel light, and he just keeps thinking about himself. Ialosia's thinking about the bigger community. Ellison's thinking about himself. Okay? So those are the patterns I see. Diction. What words or ideas contradict each other? Well, Ialosia, pretty much in this whole scene, she talks a lot. She says a lot of things. A lot of words. That's what diction is, words. But all of a sudden, at the very end, Ellison says, "You really mistake my person, Ialosia." And she goes, "I said nothing." What? She said a bunch of stuff. She said a bunch of stuff. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "I said nothing." Because why did she say that? Because she wasn't getting through to him, and so she's just like, whatever, dude. Okay. Also, like, do you see any like singular words repeated? Okay. Okay. Then we have syntax, which is sentence structure. I'm sorry, imagery. Let's go to imagery. Then details, then syntax. Imagery. As the images hit your 5 senses, including sound devices, what images stand out to you? It's not just your vision. Okay, this is also what you hear, taste, touch, smell. Like if I'm reading a book about war and it's a bombing, I'm gonna hear the bombs going off. That's called a sensor or a hearing image, right? So I can see, I can hear, I could be maybe if there's a description of food, I can smell. So pick one. There's more, but pick one at least. What details are available? This is all the proper nouns and like places, locations, etc. There may not be any in your passage. Details are kind of a catch-all category. What is the general syntax? Okay. So look at this, if I like just visually look at the passage, Iologia is speaking in paragraphs. Ellison is speaking more in poetic form. How do I know that? Because his are set off like this. So his are more in riddles, right? She's speaking in paragraphs. What else do I see? I see the repetition of, I'm scared, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but I'm scared that our hands had wrenched the world adrift into emptiness. She's talking about curses, she's talking about emptiness, she's talking about the abyss. She's talking about dwellings being ruined when people leave them. So if I go back to 17, I can look at the women who say, for a while we truly feared our hands had wrenched the world adrift into emptiness. So there's a repetition here of an allusion to the abyss, right? An allusion to destruction. What is my topic? Destruction of collapse of Yoruba culture. All right, that's the first level. That's just like, what do I see on the page? Like literally, what can I see? Second level, after making note of all this, what is the tone of the passage? Well, if I look at page 27 of my interactive notebook, maybe different for some people if you're in a different class, I have the big five. So on the top of the big five, imagery, diction, detail, point of view, syntax, that all funnels down into tone. When you describe tone, you need an adjective. So what kind of tone is Iologia setting here? Because she seems to be leading the charge in this effort. It's like fearful, but yet demanding, right? So that I'm looking for an adjective to describe the tone that Iologia is setting. You can look up this little place called Google. Tone words. You can also look up, how do I find syntax? How do I find diction? And it'll help you like lead you through like what you're looking for with those things. What claim would you make for this passage? What stands out to you? The claim I make for this passage is that Iologia does not want to stop Ellison from doing his thing, like getting what he wants on the day of his death. But at the same time, she's very worried that he's going to just do what he wants. And